I want to start off this particular video with some questions. These ain't gonna be no irrelevant questions, but you know, math, especially algebra, is ultimately concerned with nature and reality and science experiments to be exact. And so I want to start off this video just kind of want you to get used to dealing with reality when it comes to math. So I'm gonna ask you some questions, and for every answer that you just don't know, I'm gonna write down some type of picture or a symbol or a letter for that thing that you don't know. So if you can think about it from yesterday, how many ounces of water did you drink yesterday? How many ounces of water did you drink? How many ounces of water did I drink yesterday? I don't know. It's a number, but I don't know how much. So for that right now, I'm gonna put a little symbol. I'm gonna put an X to stand for however many ounces of water we had yesterday. Another question. How many fingers and toes did you have yesterday? That's pretty simple unless something tragic happened. You got 20. That's a number that we know. Like, we don't gotta guess how many fingers and toes that you had yesterday. Cause we talking about yesterday. Excuse me. So we don't gotta, we don't gotta think too hard about that. Let's do another couple. Another question. Let's think. How many, how long did it take you to get from work? How many minutes did it take you to get from work, from home to work? How long was your commute yesterday? Or, if you in school, from home to school. How long did it take you to get from home to work or home to school yesterday? How long did it take me to get from home to work yesterday? Again, really, I don't know. I mean, we could guess, but I'm not asking to guess. We're just gonna say that we don't know. So I'm gonna draw another symbol for that number. I'm gonna put the letter. Now, it could be, I'll do something else. I'll switch it up, because it don't always gotta be letters that we put. So, that's a couple more. Let's see. How hot was it? What was the temperature like yesterday? Now, where I was at, I think the high was maybe, we in Georgia, so about maybe 85, I want to say yesterday, maybe 85, but what was that for y'all? If you can put it in the comments, or you can just kind of think about it. But for me, that's a number. I can put 85. We'll put 85 degrees. That's how hot it was yesterday. But the problem is right here is that, you depending on if you was in Antarctica yesterday, that's a different number. So 85, when you asked me, how long my commute was, I'm gonna say 85, but depending on where you was at, that'll be a different number. Let's do one more. Let's see. How much? One more question. Let's see. How much? How many pounds of food did you eat yesterday? About the same thing with the commute and the water. I really don't know. I mean, I know I ate food. I know I chewed up some food yesterday. How many pounds? There's no way for me to, I don't have a number for that. So what we're gonna do is draw a symbol or a picture instead. But I'm not gonna use a letter. Let me do something. I'll draw a little picture. We'll do something like that. What are we gonna draw? We'll draw something like that, like a little PlayStation button. So this picture represents how many pounds of food. Now, why this picture? Just because I said so. All of this stuff is all of these pictures. I mean, you might want to put something different. You don't gotta put X, A, and that picture right there. You can draw whatever you want, but it means the same thing. That's the important part. Excuse me. Now, the reason I wanted to start off the video talking about asking you these type of questions is because a lot of times in math, the major question is, when are we going to use this? And that really becomes a bigger question when you start your algebra class. Like I tell all of my students that I tutor, math is about science experiments. When you start doing science experiments in the real world, that's when you start utilizing everything that you learn in math. But if up until that point, it's really non-functional. So what we are talking about at this point in this video is about variables. Once you get a little bit further into your algebra, at some point you will stumble across, your professor is going to put before you the concept of variables. And that's what we are going to talk about in this video. And that's kind of what we just did with this kind of little question experiment. So in algebra, a variable is something that we don't know. It's something that we don't know, or something that can change. For example, when I asked you how many ounces, how much water did you drink yesterday? That is a number. Like, we definitely know, like, I drank water yesterday. So we know it's a number, but what number it is, I don't know. I don't know. How many liters, I'm not sure. And so because that I don't know, that's what we call a variable. But the thing is, just because you don't know, just because I don't know, that don't mean that we stop doing math, right? So instead of doing that, instead of just stopping, we make up symbols that we can still do stuff with. So if I wanted to see, before, we're not gonna do no calculation. Let me just chill. We're not gonna do no calculations in this video. But variables are things that we don't know. Now let's talk about number 2. Now, constants, you got variables. We're not doing calculations. I'm just drawing a little thing. Variables, and we also got constants. Variables are numbers we don't know. I'm gonna change up the language a little bit. Variables are numbers that exist, but we don't know what number it is. That's how I'm gonna change up the language just a little bit. Variables are numbers that exist, but we don't know variables are numbers that exist. They definitely exist. That's one of the most important things to kind of keep in mind. Variables, they're not zero. If they didn't exist, it would be the number 0. If I didn't drink no water yesterday, we would just put 0 right there. But the number exists, but we just don't know exactly what it is. So that's a variable. But going back to the second question, yesterday and all of the days before that, by the grace of God, most of us have had 20 fingers and toes. That has never ever changed. So that's what we call a constant. A constant is a number that, first of all, it exists. Constants are numbers that exist, but we do know what number it is. I said we do know. Look, we don't know. Let me change that. So, how many fingers and toes do you got? 20. Again, yeah, by the grace of God. That is not gonna change. Going to the third question now. How long did it take you to get from home to your job? Now, this is gonna be different. Now, this kind of goes to the temperature thing. It's gonna be different for everybody. How long it took for you to get to work is different from how long it took for me to get to work and stuff like that. So, for me, personally, I could calculate this number, but right now, but I don't know. I haven't gone through the calculation to find out how long it took me to get to my job yesterday. But it's a number. We know that I went to work. I know that I went to work. How many minutes, how many seconds, however we want to measure that, however many hours, how long that is, I don't know, me personally. If you do know, then you would kind of plug this in as a constant, because again, what I'm trying to get you to understand is that the contrast of variables and constants and kind of the relationship. If you know, then you know, and it's not a variable no more. But there's a couple of things about a variable too. So a variable is a number that we don't know, but also if it can change, then it's also a variable. We might know it, but if it changed the next day or the next second, then it's also a variable. So variables are numbers that exist, but we don't know what number it is, and also numbers that exist that can change. This is another kind of property of variables. So for number 3, again, how long it take me to get from work changes depending on traffic. Every day it changes, goes back and forth. One day it might be 10 minutes, the next day it might be 17 minutes. So how long it take you to get from work? Now, yesterday we might know, but when I ask you just generally on any given day, how long it take you to get from work, we don't know that. So we put a variable right here as well. For number 4, to be honest, that should have been a variable. That was how hot it was yesterday. Now, how it was 85 today, I wonder how hot it is today, but it's probably not 85. Now, if it is, and that's, what's it called? By chance. But temperature is also something that changes. So let's say I could check my phone right now, and okay, it says it's 85 degrees. But I could check it 5 minutes later, and then it say, oh, it's 87 degrees. So this temperature, because again, now with this definition of what is a variable, it's a number that we know exists, but we don't know what number it is. That's one type of variable that we can have, or that's one thing that makes something a variable. But also, a variable is a number that we know it, but it's changing. That's also a variable. So the temperature, we knew the temperature yesterday was 85. Right now, it's 85 degrees, but 2 minutes from now, 1 hour from now, it might be 90 degrees. So how hot it is on any given day, not yesterday now. Now, yesterday we can get a concrete answer, but then when you break it down, like, well, how hot was it from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.? That might change too. So this is also a variable. And so instead of drawing a picture, which takes up a little bit more time, I'm gonna just put another letter right there. So we'll put something like Y. I hope that look like a Y. Let me see if I can draw that again. We'll put the variable Y as a symbol to represent how hot it is. And the same thing goes for this last one. I forgot what question that I was asking, but I think it was how many pounds of food, how much food did I eat yesterday? Now, again, that's a variable because however much food I ate yesterday might not be the same. I might not eat no food today. How many pounds of food did you eat yesterday might be different from the pounds of food that you ate today. So that is also a variable. How much food did you eat? Because that changes. So, but you see, variables, the symbols that we use as placeholders, because again, the symbols are what we call the variables. They're the placeholders. So when we do find out, then we can just put in the number. But until we do find out, we're going to use these symbols like X, Y, and the circle with the triangle. These are just, again, placeholders. But drawing a circle and a triangle, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of time consuming. That's why you see letters a lot of times and stuff when you start to get into algebra and things like that. So that is what variables and constants are. And we'll be talking about expressions and equations in the next video.